Hello, it is 9 p.m. in Djibouti. It's time to English new editions and for tonight's headlines. So we have Djibouti World Capital of Tourism 2018, the coronations of Djibouti and its president. And concerning international Syria missions of United Nations, has state Juma to assist the experts of the OPCW as investigate. Welcome in our newsroom. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, was honored today, Thursday, at the People's Palace, member honoris causa of the World Academy of Tourism. The inauguration of the head of state was part of a ceremony where he also received the World Capital of Tourism and Culture prize that the European Council of Tourism and Culture awarded this year to our country. Through this event, our country is therefore the object of double recognitions of international scope. It is undoubtedly the many efforts regularly undertaken by more than 10 years in the field of tourism development which is worth to our country the series of encouragement of which is the object today. More than the creations of a simple visibility for our tourist provisions which is greeted with great pomp. Today it is the strategy of exploitations and fructifications of tourist heritage. It is the vision punctuated by wisdom, moderation and responsibility that characterize our country development that is awarded today. It is fair to say that under the leadership of the first magistrate, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, the Republic of Djibouti has not only succeeded brilliantly in highlighting its exceptional tourist provision, member of the government, parliament, and a significant number of civilian, military, and religious leaders took part in this event. Not also the participation is in the ceremony of the First Lady and the President of the National Union of Women of Djibouti, Ms. Khadra Mahmoud Haid.
Ismail,
The Minister of Commerce, Hassan Mohamed Al-Ibrahim, has emphasized in his speech the levels of the beautiful Djibouti will be in the future the most visited country around after putting in place a real project to develop tourism area in the Republic of Djibouti. For his part, the Minister of Culture, Mr. Momin Hassan Barre, explained that Djibouti is a crossroad of the three continents. Djibouti has an exceptional position in the world to be the centers of cultural meetings. For their part, the President of the European Council has marked the different potentiality of Djibouti to be recognized as a world cultural and touristic capital. Djibouti is a very inclusive country with no more effect as his atmospheres.
As prescribed by the protocol, the presentation of the new member of the academic community is made public for the benefit of the global audience. Analyzing the curriculum vitae along with the activity of the President Ismail Omar Guelleh, we discover a complex person, a man of many talents, entirely dedicated to the development of his country, the well-being of the people of Djibouti, dedicated to building a favorable image of Djibouti in the midst of the international community. Serving his country in many administrative capacity gave him access to a high level of knowledge and expertise, and was fundamental for building a solid education and experience, managing the country, giving him a European and international perspective upon the transfer of knowledge, expertise and technology.
C'est aujourd'hui un moment.
The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, thanked the European Councils of Tourism and Cultures. Listen to this report, please.
C'est avec beaucoup de joie et beaucoup de fierté que j'accueille cette distinction.
It is a great joy and pride that I welcome this distinction. Through me, it is the Republic of Djibouti and its population that you just honored. First of all, Mr. President, on behalf of the people of Djibouti, I wish to thank you personally as well as the Academy that you are leading for this mark of confidence and esteem that you are showing us. This distinction, Mr. President, as meritorious as it may be, we take it neither as a consecration nor as a reward, but as an encouragement to persevere on the path that we have just drawn in the development of tourism. It is always rewarding to be supported in its effort, especially by an institution just like yours, that has always defended the vision of tourism and culture centered on the human. Ladies and gentlemen, there are different ways to define and perceive the Republic of Djibouti and its people. Some speak of us as a people in the middle of the desert, others, no doubt, nostalgic of a colonial era, yet gone. We are reduced to a sign which is written as territory of Afar and Isas. The most innovative identify us with a geostrategic basis for the military powers, but fortunately for us, ladies and gentlemen, there are still many people around the world who do not reduce us to these anachronistic cliches and labels. For us, for all of those citizens of the world, we have had the opportunity to stay in our country, Djibouti, in this land of meeting and exchange at the confluence of all roads, maritime, land and air. For us, for all of these citizens of the world, the Republic of Djibouti is a history and even a prehistoric that geology, geography, archaeology keep telling through times and age. Those who marvel at the pristine beauty of the Laka Bay, those who accompanied a caravan on the ice floes of the Lake Assal. Those who have the feelings of that Djibouti is, who have the feeling of what Djibouti is, and it is probably because they felt the magic of a captivating space that Tarzieff and Rainbow spoke in their time of a book of open geology and a lunar landscape.
The President Gele has emphasized once again to be strong and work together. Listen please once again, the head of state.
Monsieur le Président, Mesdames et Messieurs, nous nous réjouissons donc aujourd'hui.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, we are therefore looking forward today to this international recognition of our country as the world's capital of culture and tourism. Our country contains sites that are well worth the detour. I mentioned the Assal Lake and the Abe Lake earlier, but I could have mentioned the prehistoric frescoes of Abura or the primary forest of Dai. I could also mention the extraordinary biodiversity which include endemic species such as the Djiboutian francolin and the Barra gazelle. I could also mention the extraordinary cultural richness of our communities, these nomads rooted in their territories, and these citizens who are the fruits of historic melting pots which make the country a heaven of tolerance and a living together. In our development strategy for our country, we are very sensitive to the benefit of tourism, its impact on growth, and its role in the fight against poverty. In the decades, and thanks to all the effort made to increase its attractiveness, our country has more than tripled the proportion of tourists. Naturally, the government is encouraging this job-creating dynamic for the youth and to generate foreign currency for our economy. We have not hesitated to build the tourism industry as one of the economic pillars of the 2035 vision. In a frenzied global competition that drives the tourism sector, we want to remain lucid to avoid failing in certain pitfalls. We do not want to sacrifice to all tourism territories an ecosystem that we know as fragile. We do not want to build this still bargaining sector on an economy model that plunder and torpedoes the ecological balance of territories and population. Faced with the short-term and consumerist promises of a tourism industry that often degrades, pollute, and destroy, we want to get out of the Manichaean trap of all tourists, we want to get out of the Manichaean trap of all tourists or its opposite for a responsible solution that integrates the tourism industry into a sustainable development plan. Djibouti has chosen a niche tourism that connects individuals, cultures, and civilization. The choice of tourism must have an important role to play in the dialogue of culture, the choice of balance between our development objectives and the protections of our social, cultural, and environmental heritage. It is a difficult choice whose dividends, although promising, are still meager, but a choice that my country assumed for the sake of fairness and justice for future generations of our country. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention.
After thanking the European Council of Tourism and Culture, the European Academy of Tourism for having dedicated Djibouti World Capital of Tourism and Culture 2018, of the first African country was nominated in this sense, the President of the Republic has in his speech praised the choice of the European Academy of Tourism and Culture by awarding him the prize of the European Academy of Tourism and Culture. High distinctions of this institution, the President went on to state in his speech in the Somali language that tourism contributes fully to economic development, in particular by generating jobs, while adding that a tourism policy must be put in place to protect our ecology as well as our fauna and flora. State next door in the flagship sites such as the Abotlaka gateways to humanity Assal Lake and the lowest point in Africa with 150 meters below sea level, not to mention the Antelope Beara. All these wonders are found, said the president, here in Djibouti. He finally urged the people of Djibouti to protect their most expensive property from their land and cultural heritage. We must also remember the fateful moment of this conference celebrating tourism and culture is that the highest official of the European Academy of Tourism and Culture awarded the highest distinctions of the Academy with the key to a prestigious award well deserved, which has rewarded our head of state for his tireless efforts to make our country a haven of peace and diversity and a destination for tourists from all over the world.
Excellence présidente Ismaïl Omar Guelleh et maintenant académicien. Félicitations.
The Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, student to the rank of Commanders of the National Order of 27, joins the Professor Anton Korega, President of the European Councils of Tourism and Trade. In this Thursday, 19 April 2018, the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed has conducted a ceremony of decoration in the Lounge of Honor of the Office of Prime Minister, in the course of which is the Professor Dr. Anton Korega has been elevated to the rank of Commanders of the National Order of 27 June. Professor Dr. Anton Korega, Directors of the European Councils of Tourism and Trade, which has awarded the April 10th last to the Republic of Djibouti the titles of World Capital of Tourism and Culture. The Prime Minister, His Excellency Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, thanked on behalf of the Republic of Djibouti the Professor Anton Korega for the attributions of this gratitude and recognitions of the effort of the head of state and his government for the promotion and development of tourism potential and the strengths of our country. This ceremony of decoration was held in the presence of the Ministers of Muslim Affairs and Cultural Property Waqf, Mumin Hassan Barry, the Minister's Delegate in charge of Trade and Tourism, His Excellency Hassan Hamad Arbahim, and the Secretary Generals of the Presidency, Mr. Muhammad Abdullah Wa'ad, and the Chief of the Cabinet of the Presidency, Mr. Muhammad Abdul Qadir Ibrahim, the Director General of the National Office of Tourism, Osman Abdi Muhammad, and close collaborators of the happy recipient. The Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mr. Mustafa Muhammad Mahmoud, is on a mission to Washington, where he took part in the spring meetings of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, which are held from April 16th to 2018. At the head of delegations of executive from his department, Mr. Mustafa Muhammad Mahmoud uses the platforms to exchange and share information and experience on economic and social issue. Is also an opportunity for him to discuss with the Bretton Woods institutions, the effectiveness of World Bank's support and assistance to study project funded through seminars and conferences. The MINFOP started this working week on Monday, April 16th, with meetings with the experts, Mr. Deon Filmers, who made a presentation of a flagship report of the World Bank Group on the development of the World Bank, and especially the report 2018 entitled Learning to Realize the Promise of Education, which is Mr. Deon Filmers is a co-director. In the afternoon, the MINFOP delegation visited primary schools where children with special needs attend school. And the entry into the process of the contract for constructions of the regional cable that in December last year has been followed by months of work for the evaluations of the size. The procurement of has initiated its first meeting, CCM1 contract coordination meeting with the subcom at Campus Key to make the point on the progress of the project and take the appropriate decisions according to the circumstances of the industrial phase. On this, many responsible of Djibouti Telecom have participated in the meetings, and the technical discussions have to on the project of organizations of survey on-site marine, the monitoring achievement of stations and terrestrial routes, as well as the management budget of realization, and the follow-up to the industrial phase revenue stations and network commissioning. This infrastructure, longer than 5,000 kilometers, will be deployed by the subcom. It will link several coastal areas of the East Africa, including the cities of Mombasa, Kenya, and Djibouti City, passing by Mogadishu, Somalia, Bosaso, Puntland, and Berbera, Somaliland. The Infoway future under Navy will assume to the different country the sheltering a capacity more than 13 TP for Djibouti, which is committed to acquire all the necessary technical means to ensure its places in the digital world. These new systems of submarine filter optic cable is the aid to which the country will be connected. The dark cable will be a powerful tool conducive to the development of the new technology, digital uses, and able to meet the growing demand of the populations of the East Africa and Horn of Africa in the area of connections to the top digital flow. The Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, presided this morning a ceremony marking the returns of the detachment of the Djibouti Armed Forces who took part in the military drill Gulf Chill of the Islamic coalition that has just ended in Saudi Arabia. On their descent from the plane, these ideal soldiers were greeted with honor by a large delegation made up of senior officers of the Djiboutian Armed Forces General Staff, including Brigadier General Tahir Ali Mohammed, Deputy Chief of State Major Defense Major General Hassan Ali Kamil, advisors to the SIMGA, as well as the heads and directors of the civilian persons of the defense took part of this mission. General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, Chief of the Staff of the Armed Forces, reviewed the mission detachment gathered on the tarmac of the Djibouti International Airport and greeted one by one the Djiboutian soldiers engaged in the Gulf Chill military exercise organized by Saudi Arabia. For his part, General Zakir Sheikh Ibrahim said in a few words, he said you took part in an exercise of the Islamic coalition from March 18 to April 16, 2018, which took place on the sites of Jubel in Saudi Arabia, with the participation of 25 states, including 10 African countries, 13 Arab countries gathered within the Islamic coalition, United States and Great Britain, he said. He continued saying that the flag of the Republic of Djibouti floated on this occasion on the site of Jubel, where was held the military parade closing this military maneuver, where a detachment made up about 30 soldiers of the armed forces Djiboutians participate actively under the attentive the President of the Republic, His Excellency Anglais, at the head of a large delegation including the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Minister of Defense and the military authority of IDF. The Republic of Djibouti acceded that in December 2015 to the Islamic coalitions as our country plays a leading role in the fight against terrorism, peacekeeping and security at the regional and international level. He closed his remarks by thanking the officers, non-commissioned members and civilian defense personnel present at the ceremony. Finally, the ceremony was closed by cultural activities around the welcome drink organized within the Djiboutian Air Force's command post.
madaxweyne umadiisa mideeyo musuqmaasuqa ka caadiro laba dalka dhigay sida ma ku haysta yana haban imaanela ma bayay tiyayo wakaygo mid yar oo ducaha raashad Allah iyo namide amiin magacina ka amiin ka ku qonayna Allah iyo namide amiin waliga nabda bismillah Ismaaciil Umar Gela magacaada Allah iyo namide amiin Allah iyo namide amiin mariyuna bukoy amiin kuna waleey amiin kadama Allah iyo namide amiin ka qonasi amiin Allah iyo muraadkiisa si amiin karakiisha dhamaan muraadkooda si amiin Allah iyo namide amiin sooyinka nabda bismillah marakiis ay qoqoys iyo muddo biraad maashiisa nasiib amiin Allah iyo maashiisa nasiib amiin ana haaban hawsha Allah kayo halka la yarayo habeenay laga qeybo laga qeybo hadwada hana haban nimaela ma baye hana haban nimaela ma baye hadareeyo sifada ku amaanan magaciisu waa 99 sadaqkiisa quraanka ku soo أنا حبا وقعد يجبي حتايو
ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا هب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكون من الخاسرين.
Always in the continuity of the arrivals of the delegations of the CGSO, in the terms of the chairman, the office of the Ministers of Youth and Sports, His Excellency Hassan Mohammed Kamilis, and the Ministers of Jan Anisse, Tradings of the Source of Djibouti. He was greeted at the VIP area of the airport by the Secretary of State for Youth and Sports, His Excellency Hassan Mohammed Kamil, as well as the technical advisors Mr. Mohammed Ahmed Salim, Mr. Aslim Mohammed Hussein, and the directors of the region, Umar Hassan Abdullahi. The two state officials have discussed at length of their state of progress, the preparations for the 11th games of the CGSO that our country is home for the first time. The Secretary of State had to reassure his hosts that all the necessary resources have been mobilized to allow these games of this place in the best condition, offers much more than the head of state. His Excellency Magele was personally involved in its success. The launch ceremony will be held under his high patronage. And the second work of IGAD on the National Consultations Workshop on the Protocol of the IGAD of the Free Movement of People that opened yesterday in Tajora region. During the second day, there are several themes in the summer as the impact of migration on the free movement of people, on income generation and poverty reduction is well established, as well as local urban migration, regional migration and international migration can all contribute to poverty reductions by improving the incomes of migrant workers, as also by reducing the pressures on resources. The provisions of the IGAD agreement article requiring member states to harmonize their policy on trade, customs, transport, communication, agriculture and natural resources, and the promotions of the free movement of goods, service and persons of establishments of residence. The recommendations of the IGAD migration policy framework of these 3 days of work urging IGAD member states to adopt and implement appropriate protocols for the progressive implementation of the free movement of persons, the right to residence and establishment, including access to legal employment in destinations country without harming the employment of its nationals. And concerning the international scene, a national team fired weapons in Syria while visiting suspect chemical sites. The inspectors from the organization from the prohibitions of the chemical weapons. Listen to this report.
The inspector from the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons are in Syria to investigate an April 7 incident in which Western countries and rescue workers say scores of civilians were killed to date by government force. OPCW Director General Ahmed Azumzu said the United Nations Department of Safety and Security UNDSS had decided to carry out reconnaissance at 2 sites in the town of Douma before the inspectors will visit them. On arrival outside one, a large ground cartridge and advice provided by the UNDSS was that the reconnaissance team should withdraw. He told a meeting at the watchdog's headquarters in remarks it later released. Outside too, the team came under small arms fire and explosive was denoted. The reconnaissance team returned to Damascus.
In South Sudan, peace talks has been adjourned to the next month, the monitoring agency said. Let's listen to this report, please.
The Sudanese round of the South Sudan peace talks has been adjourned to next month. The monitoring agency the talks in Addis Ababa were scheduled to begin on April 26 to April 30. However, the Regional Bloc's Joint Monitoring and Evaluation Commission GMEC said there were a need for more time for consultations among the parties involved. A delegation of GMEC has been in Juba since last Saturday, meeting with the parties to the conflict and other stakeholders. South Sudan has been in internal war since December 2030, where President Salva Kiir had fallen out with the Peace Deputy Riek Machar. Attempts to put off conflict have been vital as multiple treaties have been violated by the main signatories to the peace.
This is it for tonight news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good weekend.